Okay, so the question is, should one buy a property in their homeland, in their home country, or in this specific video, should you buy a property in Zimbabwe? For context, those who do not know, Zimbabwe is in the Southern African region, and there is a big diaspora community, which is my biggest aim for this video. I'm looking to speak to people in the diaspora. By the diaspora, I mean South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Switzerland, United Kingdom, Australia, USA, Canada, Poland, and wherever you may be. I'm looking to speak to you. It will also be relevant to people who are in Zim, people who are in Africa, people who are somewhere else that is not their country, their birth country. So, welcome to the channel. My channel here is focused on various topics, but mainly the diaspora community, how they live, how they go about their daily lives, and just any suggestions or thoughts or any topic of discussions that might come up in the comments. They are up for discussion on this channel. So, welcome. Okay, so there are various factors to take into consideration when you're thinking of, should I buy a home? Should I buy a house? Should I buy land? Should I build in my home country? Should I build in Zim? Should I build in Harare? Should I build in Gweru, Kwekwe, Kadoma, Chegutu, Shurugwi, Shavane, Chimanimani, Chiredzi, Bait Bridge, Mvuma, Bindura? Should I build a home? So the usual debate is, should I buy a house where I am living, or should I buy a house somewhere else where I left and now I live, for example, in the UK? Just for a second, in the video here, what you can see in front of us is a city 40 kilometers away from Harare called Norton. Right now, I was approaching Bulawayo Road. So if you do left here, you're going to Harare, or towards Harare if you like. If you do a right turn, you're going towards Bulawayo, you're going towards Chegutu. I don't know why that sign, I don't know where Norton starts, because if you see that sign says R2 Norton pointing to the left. But anyway, sorry, I've got a cold. Going to the right, that's going towards Bulawayo, so towards Chegutu, as the sign said. Chegutu, Kadoma, Kwekwe, Gweru, Bulawayo. That's the direction I'm taking here. And I am going to a new area called Knockmalloch. So Knockmalloch is a new development which is still being developed in Norton. Okay, so back to our topic of discussion. So various factors, as I was saying before, should be taken into consideration if you're thinking, okay, should I build a home in my birth country or my country of birth? So to some, I've seen the debate coming from people from different countries, different nations. So this left turn here is the one that takes you to Knockmalloch. It's called the Mondoro turnoff. So various reasons make me think, yes, you should build a house in Zim, or you should buy land with the plan to build something back in Zim, back in Abuja, back in Johannesburg, back in Accra, back in Nairobi, back in Mombasa. But as I said before, my focus here is Zim. So I am for buying a house back home, or buying land to build a house, a residential home back in Zim. Funny enough, I used to be against this idea. I used to be like, you need to build where you are. Where you are is where your life should be. That's where you should invest properties in. And I'll tell you the biggest thing that changed my mind later in the video. So the reasons that I think are reasonable reasons to build back home, to buy a property back home, is a sense of achievement. So it gives you purpose. It gives you something to do, if you like. It gives you a focus. It gives you a goal. Once you are, say, for example, in America, in the UK, it might take a while till you're eligible for a mortgage, for example. Majority of us cannot buy a house cash. For the majority, it's a case of getting a mortgage. So it might take a while till you're eligible for this, or till you commit yourself to say, okay, now I'm going to get a mortgage, because it is quite a commitment. It could be 15 years at the least, and that 15 is at a push, usually 20, 25, 30, even 40 years of commitment, of payments, of not knowing if you're going to finish paying this huge sum. So you buy land in Zim. You buy land, say, for $15,000, for $10,000 even, or even less, or even more. To you, that's a step forward. It brings a different dimension, a different kind of thinking, sense of fulfillment. Fulfillment is something that people take for granted, but sometimes it's what you need to keep going. And you feel like you're working more towards something. Okay? So achievement and something to work towards. Legacy. You have land, you have a property, you've got something to leave for other generations. I try to kind of move away to thinking of just myself, but start thinking of people who are to come, people in the future, people who are younger now. They've got something somewhere that they can leave at, or somewhere where they can say, oh, this was left for us, or somewhere where they can, if let's say you did not finish the house or you did not start building, they've got somewhere to start from. So that's legacy. Another thing, another factor, all these things are my opinions, personal viewpoint. You might think differently, you might think otherwise, but this is my thinking, keyword being my. If you agree, that's fine. If you disagree, that is fine. If you're not sure, you can't comment, you can't have an opinion on the topic, that is fine. So age is another thing I think that should be taken into consideration. And just like everything really, situations vary, circumstances vary. Your situation is different from mine. Me and you's situation is different from the next person's. Yeah? So, age. So let's say you move to the diaspora, the places we mentioned before. And for example, let's say you are aged 40. Yeah? At age 40, your thinking, your priorities, your goals, your aims are likely or maybe they should be different from the same goals, aims for a 20-year-old, for a 25-year-old, even a 30-year-old. So for example, here you're 40, you're single or married or in a relationship. At 40, you're moving from whatever country to the other country. It's going to take a while for you to settle, for you to be eligible for a mortgage, and for you to even be accepted. It might be a struggle, it might be an issue, and it might be ideal for you to say, okay, I'm just here to get some money, build back home, buy land or whatever, and have a property back home, and you just rent wherever you are. And yeah, it's one thing to think of age. For a 20-year-old, they might do both. For example, get a mortgage here, invest back home. That's an option. Another dilemma that people have is, do I get a mortgage first in the UK, then build back home, or do I build back home, then get a mortgage in the UK? Again, this depends on your situation. Let's say, for example, you're on documents or papers that only allow you to work, say, for 5 years. And from history, from talking to people, from the government websites, is telling you, or your gut feeling even, is telling you, I might not get a renewal, or you might not want a renewal, then yes, definitely, straight away start thinking of building back homes, buying land, having something. Another thing is, if you know that you're going to get a renewal, if you know you want to stay long term wherever you've moved to, then it makes sense to get a mortgage and start paying that mortgage off as soon as possible. But don't rush into it. Make sure you plan to stay there for long, wherever you are. Usually, they say a mortgage, because a mortgage doesn't mean you have to pay it off. You can still sell the house and move on, but you have to stay for at least 5 years for it to make sense and for you to make a bit of profit, if you like. But the minimum really recommended is 10 years. If you stay there for 10 years, pay the mortgage for 10 years, if you sell off, you can still have some money, have built some equity in the house. So that's another thing to think of. And if you have kids, if you have children, you have to think, do you want to wait for them to be adults before you move back home? Do you want to have something for them back home? Are they kids who would want to be back home at some point? And do you want to be back home at some point? Some people do not want to ever go back wherever they came from, or they would rather not. And again, we are entitled to what we want to do. Choices, preferences, that's a right, I think, that everyone has. So in that situation, yes, you might be opposed to say, oh, it's not worth it buying land back home, it's a waste. Buying a house back home, you don't live there, you only go there for 2 weeks, you only go there for 1 month, or it's just going to be with your relatives and you get nothing from it. I think another topic to discuss another day, about where should you buy and who should live in the house that you invest in, or in the land, who should take care of it. We'll discuss that another day. Moving on, related to the previous point, you can make an earning from this property, but the return on investment on these properties, be it in the UK, it's better in the first world than it is back home, I think. But in both places, it's a long process for you to get your money back, the money that you invested in, without even factoring inflation. We could be talking 20, 25, 30 years until you get your initial investment. Never mind the cost that you suffered, never mind inflation. And for a profit to start, it could be 35 years, it could be 40 years. Yeah, so it's quite a commitment. Then lastly, or second from lastly rather, some people, as I said, from situation to situation, from circumstance to circumstance, some people have got children, adult children, or young children who are back in the home country, who for one reason or the other are not going to join them abroad or in the diaspora, if you like. And for that reason, it might be a good option for you to invest back home, to have a house back home, to have land back home for these children to stay in. Yeah, I don't know the reason, but I've seen people where the children are going to stay where they are and they're going to stay there. No plans for them to join whoever has moved away from the country. So yeah, that could be a reason for one to invest back home into a house, into a property, into land. Then obviously as a source of income, but the rate of return is very slow. Then lastly, and the thing that changed my mind on this whole topic, where I mentioned I used to be of the idea you should build where you are, you should get a house where you are, get a mortgage where you are. Forget about where you are not present. Forget about where you only visit for 2 weeks. So two things changed my mind. One, I don't know if you know about what happened last year, 2024, where there were, it's a very sad story. It's horrific. It's no words can really describe it. But this happened in Southport, in the northwest of the UK, where 3 children were murdered. Yeah, if you search it up, Southport killings, I'm sure it will come up and you can have a read. So following this sad story, this horrible happening, riots followed. Yeah, and these were really bad, and obviously people were angry, but hate crime shot up. Hate crime was on the rise, and certain minorities were being targeted. So you'd hear cases of someone was just walking in the park and a group of people ganged up on the person and started beating them just for no reason really, because they didn't commit this crime, but sadly this is how it was happening. There were issues at mosques, there were issues with minorities, people working, for example, in the NHS, were being told if you don't feel safe to come to work, don't come. Those who went to work were being ordered taxis to go back home, so that they are safe, if you like, safe in quotes. So it just showed me that the situation in the environment that you're in, it might be comfortable today, but the next day, next week, next year, things can change dramatically. So this whole thing got me thinking, if this is to happen, say this hate becomes permanent, this hate carries on, hate crimes, these targeted attacks keep on happening, become a norm, become regular, what option do you have? Do you stick around and hope you don't get targeted? Do you fight back? Do you just enjoy it and just carry on? Or why not just move back to your home country? Why not just go back home? So yeah, that changed my mind. It really got me thinking, things can change. Don't be too comfortable. Don't be too relaxed. What's happening today? All the years I've been away, it never went to that extent where it was that bad. There's always been cases, always been issues, but no, or maybe it's because I was further away from where things were happening. I don't know. But yeah, it got me thinking, do not be too comfortable. Don't relax. Just work on something. Have a plan B, have an option. So if you have a house back home, can book your flight and you're gone. Yeah? So yeah, that changed my mind. And another thing was, I realized the people I was talking to were from different countries, where they were not from Zim. That's all I will say. They were from countries where they had many other issues. Zim has got its issues, many issues, but issues that are different from this particular country. And those people vowed to never go back home. Some don't even visit. Some even say, I don't even want my kids to visit. And that's not really the case with Zim. That's not really the case with Zimbabwe. People visit, people go there regularly. People are happy when they visit Zim. People want to extend their stays. So I realized, okay, I was taking information maybe from the wrong people, or advice, or their preferences. I was making them mine when as I said before, circumstances are different. My circumstance is different. I am from Zimbabwe. I was born in Zim. So yeah, I'm not from that particular country, so my situation is different. But yeah, that is my thought. That is my thinking. These are my opinions on the whole issue. I think yes, whatever your situation, whatever your plans are, you should invest in land, into a property. What kind of property, in what location? We can discuss that in a different video. Let me know if this is something you'd want to be discussed, something you'd want me to have an opinion on. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in. And also, before I go, I'll just talk a little bit about Knockmalloch. So a new development in Norton where residential stands are going for $25 per square meter. Commercial are going for $45 per square meter. I just thought, let me visit the place, see what's happening there, what opportunities are there. And yeah, from the cover, from one of the pictures in the video, you can see their offices. And yeah, I just thought I would share that with you. Till the next video, you take care of yourselves. Thank you.